chimes for y'all while we get started. Hope everyone's having a beautiful day today. Go ahead and Cameron has a lot to say today. Hi friends, family, loved ones.
Non-binary pals.
Yes, guys and gals.
Guys and gals.
Non-binary pals. We decided to do a video today to just share that it's been kind of a difficult few days, and we share a lot of the inspiring moments, or at least we try to.
We do.
We do. But this is a real part of our experience too, is the raw, difficult times. So, do you want to share a little bit about maybe what's been?
So.
Why would you say this last few days and even few weeks have maybe been a little bit difficult?
Well, I recently went and observed a Rocksteady boxing class, which is a boxing class for Parkinson's patients, and it was a little hard because I was the youngest one in the class by 20 years.
It's a cool class.
I went back today and actually participated in the class. And it's inspiring, and it's a great workout, and it's working both sides of the brain beautifully.
So bilateral exercise, working both sides of the brain. They do some physical therapy style exercises and stretches at the beginning, and to be honest, this rock steady boxing, which takes place at a Title I boxing gym, has been shown to have magnificent results with patients, to the point where neurologists are recommending and referring their clients to it, because they just are kind of stunned by the results. So this is truly a really exciting thing for us.
We were actually recommended to it by our neurologist at the UU.
Yeah. So she originally recommended this a few months back, and I was really excited about it. I think I was more excited about it than he was, but he pointed out, Sophia, we're massage therapists. These are our tools. Like, we have to be extra careful with these. And I realized that was a really valid point, even though I was kind of excited about the potential sense of community around meeting other patients with Parkinson's. But I understood guarding these. But I have to admit, when he first told me this a few days ago, that he was wanting to go to this Rocksteady class, it scared me a tiny bit, because there was a feeling that came up for me like perhaps he was getting scared, and all of a sudden the protecting of the hands no longer seemed quite as important as going and getting this exercise, which actually is probably is true in its own way, but I felt vulnerable, worrying that he felt vulnerable. But that said, I was still really excited for him to go to this to observe the class. The first one was just observing. But yeah, even the fact that he had kind of resigned himself to going and, you know, potentially risking his hands, that I saw that as a recognition that things were progressing. And so, yeah, the last few days have been tough, but it was after kind of a tough few weeks. Do you mind explaining a little bit about how some of your symptoms have presented themselves maybe a little bit more aggressively than previously, just over the last few weeks?
In the mornings seems to be the toughest in the mornings. I'll have a little bit more violent of a tremor and have experienced bradykinesis, which is where one or both of my legs kind of lock up.
So
Go stiff for a few seconds.
So when they lock up, it's not like a cramp, like a Charlie horse or something. He describes it as more like rigor mortis or like petrification. It's just like instantly hardened and stiff.
It's not painful, but it makes getting around challenging. It doesn't last long, but is a sign of Parkinson's.
Right. So, throughout the day, the shaking has been more pronounced most days. Some days are a lot better than others. There's been a pretty intense increase in nutrients and supplements. I think at some point we'll probably do a video of the shake that he makes in the morning. But for right now, we'll just maybe talk about a couple of the supplements that are making a huge difference. One is magnesium.
Magnesium's just been a lifesaver for dystonia and for the muscle tremor itself, like the overworking of the muscle. Magnesium just lets it release. It also has a calming mental effect.
Okay, so I've been taking the magnesium daily too, and I love it. It's like extraordinarily grounding and calming. Wonderful for before giving a massage or something if I just want to really bring a grounded presence to the table. So magnesium is one of those things that everyone would benefit from, but the clinic director that we're working with in some facets with Parkinson's, she talks about magnesium. She says
99 problems and 98 of them can be helped by magnesium.
and we love that. I feel like it's kind of true. I've really loved incorporating it in my life, and I can see literally with my eyes the benefit in Eben's experience. So that's one that, Parkinson's or not, I would recommend people incorporate into their experience. There's some cannabis oil that is a pure grade cannabis oil. He is a medical patient that has helped probably more than almost anything else with the tremor.
Helps relax all the muscle neurology, I guess is a good way of pointing it. So the tremor isn't as tense.
Right. So that is one thing that we've noticed. It's a very pure grade, medical grade, and he's noticed on days where that comes in a pill form. And he's noticed on days when he doesn't take that he's just shakier, you know. So there's some things that it's noticeable, the difference that those things make. I think probably one of the biggest, and I will come back to this time and time and time and time again, is exercise.
Yeah, movement just unlocks things and gets things moving, gets the heart rate up, and it's the medicine. Movement is the medicine. So that's kind of one of the reasons I spurred on to try the boxing class.
How are your hands? Are they gonna be okay, you think?
I think so. After today, I don't feel sore in the hand. I need an extra large glove, so they ordered one.
Good. They'll protect those hands. So yeah, it's been kind of a building emotional state, I think, because both of us have been kind of seeing some of these signs of the progression. I'm sure that it's probably really difficult for him to lose control of his body, but it's also difficult for him to think about the burdens that this may potentially have on my experience. And all I can see is how sad I am about the suffering that he has currently and the fears that it brings up about his future. So,
On tough days, feels like I'm being dismantled.
me too. So, Tuesday morning, which was the morning of his first observation of the rock study class, and the realization that he was 20 years younger than anybody else in the class, just was a very sensitive day for both of us. And you know, the oldest man in class, I think he said, is 87, and at first that gave me a kind of a lot of hope at the potential lifespan, but I found myself really overcome with grief shortly after when I realized that this man was probably diagnosed in the last few years. It's not highly likely that he was diagnosed at 47 and he's in this boxing class at 87, but the potential for new discoveries is in every moment, you know, and it's brought a lot of things really to the surface in terms of fears, and we found ourselves the other day just embracing and crying, and I was so grateful because I realized that we've, in a way, energetically, we've kind of like shared the burden and the emotional pain in a dance where neither one of us, where we've both been able to hold space for the other when the other person needs it, I guess, but we haven't often given ourselves the moment to just cry together. Just hold each other. I think we both really, really needed that. To the point where we've done it a few times in the last few days.
We're doing it now.
Yeah. It's one of the great teachers in this earthly experience is contrast, and to love someone so much can there's a lot of pain. Very human pain. It's worth it. So worth it. I choose love every time.
I've come just in the last little bit to find the acceptance place. Talk about this.
Sure.
Where normally you walk through life not knowing what's going to get you. But I do know, and it's not the disease itself, it's complications from the disease. So it gives me a place to focus my energy upkeeping those areas like balance, to, fall protection.
Yeah, like an example of that is practicing on a slack line. For those who don't know, a slack line is like a cargo strap that's strapped between two trees, and you balance on it like a balancing beam, but it's a balancing beam that's very bouncy and wobbly, so it requires an extraordinary amount of balance, which just for your general human being is incredibly good for your brain and your overall health. But for someone with Parkinson's, it gives them conscious practice falling. It's practice at learning how to guard oneself and creating natural reflexes, because his tendency when his body, the reason why he will be likely to fall with Parkinson's is because something will lock up. And potentially that could be very dangerous for him. He's a 6.5 foot man, and not light as a feather. So, a fall can be very, very dangerous for him. So to be able to practice falling and establishing these reflexes with his body is so good for his brain, but also for his potential future falls.
So that strange bit of acceptance is kind of freeing in a way. Just to put a positive spin.
It was really hard for me yesterday when I was having a sad moment, and I was observing him, just looking at him lovingly, and he says, "What?" And I said, "It's just so hard to watch." And he said, "What? My body disassemble itself?" I said, "Yeah, that." That's the bingo. It's hard to watch that. I love you so much.
I love you.
I feel so blessed by every single second, and feel so grateful that we found each other. In some ways, the timing seems like the most cosmically divine thing ever, but in some ways, it's like, I just found you. Anyway, I love him. And we love you guys. Thank you for being a part of our journey. Thank you for letting us share the good times and also the really difficult ones. And your prayers and love are always very welcome and lovingly received.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.